What is up, guys? I am back with my new laptop and we are back with more videos. So there are many position groups that the Jaguars have completely turned over this offseason. One of those position groups being the quarterback position, where Blake Bortles and Cody Kessler are no longer on a team, so you have a complete 100% turnover ratio at that spot. And you also have the running back position, where while Leonard Fournette is the lead back, you saw other guys that got significant snaps, such as TJ Yeldon, Carlos Hyde, Corey Grant, and Dave Williams. None of those guys are with the Jaguars anymore. So that position has been totally revamped. And now we get to the linebacker position, which has been a huge topic for the Jaguars this offseason. And that's primarily been because of Jaguars weak side linebacker Telvin Smith. Now, when you look at the linebacker group right now for the Jaguars, of course you have what everybody knows, Myles Jack. You also have Quincy Williams, who the Jaguars drafted in the third round of the 2019 NFL Draft out of Murray State. You also have Leon Jacobs, who got some starts last year. He was a 7th-round linebacker out of Wisconsin. He's going into his second year. And you also have Jake Ryan, who was a free agent that we snagged out of Green Bay. And other than that, you really just have a bunch of names and a bunch of unknowns. And really, when you look at the history of the Jaguars linebacker position this season, it all really happened in this last month where things started going crazy. And we'll go ahead and go back to the timeline of it all. On April 15th, you had the start of voluntary workouts, and it made headlines that Jalen Ramsey and Telvin Smith were not there. Now, it was no big surprise with Jalen Ramsey not being there, just because he's never at these off-season workouts that are voluntary. But it was more surprising that Telvin Smith wasn't there. In his 5 years on the Jaguars, he had never missed any kind of voluntary work. And he's a captain on a team, so he's usually at those kind of things. And usually he's at the press conference speaking on behalf of the team, as he is, of course, a leader. But the big weird thing that came out of it all was that he wasn't communicating at all with the Jaguars. Not at all. Dave Caldwell, Tom Coughlin was also very notable and audible, making an announcement saying that he expects all players to be there. And that kind of sparked the NFLPA to put out a statement basically defending Jalen Ramsey and Telvin Smith. And you had all that go on. And then next thing you know, April 26th comes, and then they draft Quincy Williams in the third round of the draft. And really, this pick was surprising for a couple reasons to me. One was just the fact that no one even knew who Quincy Williams was. He was a guy that was more talked about amongst NFL scouting departments and GMs as opposed to the NFL media covering the NFL draft. And another surprising thing was the fact that Dave Caldwell said that he was really the last linebacker left that he thought had starting quality. So they were expecting this guy to start maybe not necessarily in 2019, but definitely in 2020 and beyond. So they were really looking for a linebacker to be able to plug and play and start at that position. So now you fast forward to April 30th and May 1st, where you sign 4 veteran linebackers in those spots. You draft or you sign guys like Ramik Wilson, who has a good amount of playing time. He's got 21 total starts. You have Najee Good, and you also have DJ Alexander. Those are 3 out of the 4 guys. So it was kind of curious that the Jaguars all of a sudden signed some of these linebackers just because of this whole Telvin Smith thing that was looming. Then on May 7th, Telvin Smith goes on Instagram Live and just kind of has a goofy little live stream, and he says in there that he's never leaving Duval. So that kind of had Jaguar fans like, okay, Telvin, we're cool. You'll be back soon. And then May 9th comes about, and they cut guys like linebackers Blair Brown and Donald Payne, which was interesting because both of those guys spent the entire 2017 and 2018 seasons on the Jags. And I guess the Jaguars coaching staff saw and scouting department GM Dave Caldwell didn't really see a future with those guys on the team. But most notably on May 9th, just a couple hours after this, Telvin Smith announces on his favorite social media platform, Instagram, that he is going to sit out of the 2019 season due to family and health reasons. And this was absolutely crazy. I mean, this was a shocker. Now, there's a lot of different, I'm going to call it conspiracies about the whole Telvin Smith situation and why exactly he's sitting out. There are people that are saying that he might have failed a drug test, and that's just a rumor. I mean, I don't know where it stems from. I mean, he is a guy who fell to the 5th round of the 2014 NFL draft because he did pop a drug test at the NFL Combine. But you never know with that. I don't know the source of it, so we'll just put it out there. I'm not confirming any of these things. I'm just saying what I've heard. And there's also some reports that he has lost a lot of muscle mass, that he's extremely, extremely skinny. Now, we are used to seeing Telvin at a skinny weight, but, you know, of course, he has to do what he can to keep on some bulk as he is a linebacker. There's thought about his mental health, whether or not he's going through depression. That's some speculation. Unless you actually know Telvin Smith, you don't really know that. And, you know, also there could also be family issues, which is exactly what he said when he announced that he was going to sit out of the 2019 season. And, you know, it's kind of interesting with Telvin Smith just because it's not like a Justin Blackmon situation where all of a sudden this guy, Justin Blackmon, literally falls off the face of the earth. This guy's been on Instagram Live, you know, doing different things, making posts. He's even been seen in Jacksonville. So, and then even just yesterday, I think it was, he went on Instagram Live and told everyone to cool out, saying that, you know, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically saying that the NFL ain't everything, so football ain't everything. So it's just really weird with Telvin Smith how, you know, he loves the game of football, at least it seems like that. He's a leader of this team. He's got a captain on his jersey, a Captain C, and he's very emotional, and, you know, he's going through this right now, so it's difficult. Now, there's a lot of speculation on whether or not Dave Caldwell and the coaching staff actually knew about Telvin Smith, what was going to happen to him before he actually announced it on Instagram. I don't think they did. I think with these linebacker signings, it's just they're kind of preparing for the worst. It's because, I mean, you got to think, when you're trying to call Telvin Smith and he's not answering you back, and he's probably a guy that's been very vocal with the coaching staff. You know, he was drafted, he's been with the team for 5-6 years, ever since 2014. You know, they gave him an extension while TC, Tom Coughlin, was the executive vice president of the team, and he's just ghosting them. And they saw him in a situation where they said, look, we can't rely on this guy. I know that Dave Caldwell has been kind of wishy-washy on whether or not, basically confirming whether or not he was going to be on a team, just because I don't think they ever knew. And they said that they didn't figure out he was sitting out in the 2019 season until they actually saw it on Instagram. So it really is a wild situation. So it brings about the conversation, man. What is the linebacker group going to look like? Like, what is a starting lineup going to look like? There is a couple of different scenarios, and I'm going to go over two scenarios. The situation that I would do if I was the Jaguars is I would stick Miles Jack at that weak side linebacker spot. It's a spot that he'd be able to flourish in. I mean, he's extremely athletic. They're going to be letting him play out in space. It's really the position that he's more built to play. As you know, you put him out in space and really give him the ability to range around and find a ball carrier, and also be able to play out in pass coverage. You also have Jake Ryan, the free agent signing from the Packers, who has a lot of playing experience and a really good amount of starting experience. You know, he could solidify that middle linebacker spot. And then you have Quincy Williams, a third-round pick, go over there and play the strong side linebacker, the Sam spot. So that's one scenario, but the most likely scenario is that Quincy Williams will play the weak side linebacker spot, Telvin Smith's position, and he's right now at rookie minicamp. He is playing the weak side linebacker position, although that could be subject to change. I mean, you had a guy like Miles Jack who's played every single position on the linebacker core. When he started off his rookie year, he originally started off at the weak side linebacker spot through training camp and preseason. He wound up making a switch to Sam linebacker really once the regular season started off, because they were trying to find a way to get him on the field. Then his second year, he kept playing the Sam linebacker spot on base downs, but moved to middle linebacker on the nickel position when there in nickel coverage where there's basically 2 linebackers and 5 defensive backs. And then his third year, he played middle linebacker on, base downs and nickel coverages. And then, now could we see a situation where he's going to go and start at the weak side linebacker spot? You never know. But right now, it seems like Quincy Williams, the way it stands, will be at the weak side linebacker spot. Miles Jack will stay at the middle linebacker spot. And then at strong side linebacker, there'd be some kind of competition between Jake Ryan and Leon Jacobs who start at that strong side linebacker spot. And you never know with these other guys. We got just a lot of linebackers on the roster right now between veterans and rookies that we've signed onto the team. You just never know with that situation. Now, I know there are going to be people in the comment section asking about this, but Josh Allen is obviously on the depth chart as a defensive end / linebacker. He's wearing a linebacker number, and people will ask, should this guy potentially play linebacker? I say no. I would not do it. I would be totally against this for a bunch of different reasons. First of all, I think it'll hurt his development. I mean, last year we saw their first round pick, Taven Bryan. They were moving him from defensive tackle to defensive end and then back to defensive tackle. I thought I would have rather stuck him at one position and had him really learn that position, and then he would have been a lot better. And I think it hurt Taven Bryan's development, just like I think it would hurt Josh Allen's development. First of all, he has to really learn how to play defensive end. I mean, when he was at Kentucky, he was like a 3-4 outside linebacker, and he pretty much played in a 2-point stance all the time. He was standing up most of the time. Now at defensive end, he's going to have to learn to put his hand in the dirt, play in a 3-point stance, and learn how to rush the passer that way. And he also needs some development when it comes to his pass rushing moves. I mean, right now, he's got an incredible burst out the line of scrimmage. He gets incredible bend and is able to slap the hands away to get the sack. He's also a very powerful guy, so he's able to bull rush really well. But he has to learn how to get some kind of inside move and inside counter, whether it be a spin move or just different ways to maneuver the offensive lineman's hands to get pressure on the quarterback. There's a bunch of things that he needs to do, and I just think that let him learn defensive and let him develop at that, and then if in the future, because once they do drop in coverage, it is almost a little bit of a breather, because when you're rushing a passer, it's just you're letting a lot of energy go. So, it could be a situation where maybe later on they could try him out at like a Sam linebacker spot. But, man, for now, I would let him just stay at defensive end, let him learn a position, learn how to put your hand in the ground. And defensive end is just such a valuable position, man. I would rather Josh Allen be elite at defensive end than very good at defensive end and very good at linebacker. I want this guy to become, a top pass rusher in the league. And I think this is rookie year. I think it's the toughest positions for a rookie is quarterback, defensive end, and usually like wide receiver. So I think he's going to need some development at this spot, and I would keep him at defensive end. So, that's kind of briefly going over the linebacker position. Maybe not briefly. This video is going on 14 minutes, but I'm kind of discussing the position just because so many things have happened in the last month between, drafting guys, between signing a bunch of veterans, obviously Telman Smith's situation, a lot of different stuff going on. So, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. What you want, what your ideal situation at linebacker is. Are you guys worried about the linebacker position? It's very confusing to know what's going on, but we're gonna move forward with what we got. And I do think I've said this in one of my last videos. I think Telman Smith will wind up playing in 2019. Just a gut feeling. I don't know anybody that would want to leave $10 million on the table, but you never know. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for staying patient with me through this transition. And thank you guys for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.